everyone, and welcome. I know life is super busy for all of us, but I appreciate you guys taking the time out and coming and being on Shift Happens by Ayesha Khan. This is where we are, a space I created for people telling their real stories, meaningful change, and all the transformations that affect our lives. Before I go into my guest, let me say a little bit about him. He is a CEO and a co-founder for Baseball United Inc. in Dubai. This is the man with his team that has brought baseball to the Middle East and to South Asia. Welcome, Kash Shaikh.
Thank you so much, Ayesha. Such a pleasure to be here with you in this beautiful studio.
Yes, no, thank you. It means the world that you made some time for me. I know how busy your schedule is. I've been watching you for about 3 years now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and I know how your schedule is always jam-packed. So I appreciate you coming on and even giving me that opportunity to sit down and talk to you. So that means the world. Before we dive into some baseball,
Yes.
I want to know everything about you.
Okay.
Because you're from my territory, which is U.S.,
That's
and I
right.
think we go back even in roots. I'm assuming you were originally descent Pakistani, is what
Yes.
I'm understanding.
Yes.
So I was born there as well. But I just am. When I come out to Dubai, because this is my 5th trip out here, and when I see people from the U.S. flourish and come and bring these amazing ventures or ideas that Middle East is so applauding to see, and you're one of them, and I'm like, oh my God, that guy's from Texas. So as I started watching you and I started coming out to the games, I was like, okay, I need to know him and I need to see what he's brought to Dubai and learn his story. So we're going to go first about you before we talk about everything about baseball, because I want everybody to know what you have done for Dubai, your team as well. So you were born in Pakistan?
No, I was actually born in Texas. I was born in
Okay.
Houston, Texas. My dad was born in India, in Mumbai.
Okay.
My mom was born in Pakistan, but I was born in Texas.
Okay, so you were born as your parents. So your dad's from India and your mom is
Yes.
from.
The most star-crossed of lovers.
I know,
You
right?
know.
Same with my parents. My mom is originally from India. My dad was from Pakistan as well. But I was born in Karachi. And
Okay,
I came
cool.
to Chicago when I was 2. So you were born in Austin?
I was born in Houston, Texas.
Houston.
In the north side of Houston, in a great town called Spring, Texas. I was one of
Texas.
only like 3 or 4 brown boys in my school for most of my life. So, I didn't really understand my culture fully until I got later in life, until I got to university, where I went to the University of Texas in Austin. And that's when I saw more brown folks, as we call them.
But is it Houston so saturated with this season, South Asians? It's like there's a very high population there, right?
There is, and it's more now. But I'm getting old, Ayesha. I'm like,
Oh, come on, stop it. You're not.
I'm
Or wait, let's
46
go
now.
back a little bit. Are
I'm
you saying
46 now. So when I was
Oh.
so 40 years ago, North Houston wasn't as diverse.
Right.
Now Houston's the most diverse city in America. And now, there's tons of South Asians, Indians, and there was some then down on the south side of the city. But on the north side, it was just me and my brothers and maybe 1 or 2 other people.
Okay, so how many are you in siblings?
There's 3 of us. So I have an older brother who's
Okay.
18 months older. He's a cardiologist in Austin, doing really well, married with a couple kids. And then I have a twin brother.
What?
And most people don't know, a twin brother.
Wait a second.
Yes.
Alert. You have
Yeah.
a twin?
I have a twin brother,
Oh my
fraternal twin.
Okay.
He's shorter than me, but cuter than me, better looking than me. And
So sweet.
we're completely different. We're like the exact opposites. Like when you imagine twins, we're like not what you imagine.
You think alike, you breathe alike, you're at the same thought process alike.
So we're very different. We're like
Okay.
completely, literally almost opposite in every way.
Okay.
But we've worked together and built great things together for the last 15 years. My first company, he was my first person that I hired, and he's still with Baseball United now. So he does he's like so mentally ambidextrous because he does our website, he does our DJ work,
Wow.
he does the music at the
That's
ballpark.
so
And
critical, right?
Yeah,
And that was great music, by the way, when I do attend your
yeah, there you
games.
go. So that's Rick. So my brother Rick. I have a twin brother,
Okay.
and then obviously, just all of us grew up in Texas.
So let me ask you this: when you guys were growing up in Texas, and you said there weren't too many Desi families at that time.
That's right.
So did you guys just kind of like hang out with whoever your parents put you in front of, like a family, or was it like integrated interracially at that time back 40 years ago?
Yeah, it was because we played sports. My parents put us in sports
Okay.
very young. My first sport was baseball at 5 years old. I played
Wow. Okay.
t-ball.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming that, yeah.
Yes, I played t-ball with my brother and a bunch of other guys, and
Okay.
we actually, this is my claim to fame, Aisha. We won championship in Texas, the state championship for
Oh my
t-ball.
God,
And
that's
if you ever
awesome.
seen t-ball, it's like the most hilarious thing seeing little kids run
Right,
around.
right. But you
But
go with a championship back in the day.
in like 1985, and there was a billboard near our house, on the side of the road that said T-ball champions, and we were the Dodgers. So that's where my love of baseball really, really started. But we hung out with all different types of people, but again, mostly, Americans, mostly, great white folk, as we call them. But
Texas,
Texas.
hardcore,
Yeah.
white inclined. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But like you said, it has changed over the years, and there's a lot of different ethnicities out there
Right.
now.
Well, and it also was the early part of me really learning how to interact with all types of people.
Yeah.
In my life, I've been really blessed. God's blessed me with so many opportunities to work in different countries, be around different people. So I feel comfortable, from an early age, interacting, creating, building, playing with people from all types of backgrounds and ethnicities.
So your passion started in your childhood, basically,
Yep.
for the love of baseball.
Yes.
As your timeline went on, you obviously studied. You went to university. What
Yep.
did you end up studying at university?
I studied marketing communications.
Okay,
at the
perfect.
University
Look,
of
that's why
Texas.
you're so eloquently speaking whenever
Well, you
you
know what I should, what's crazy is when I was in high school, all the way to high school, like junior high school, I was so petrified of speaking in front of people, like literally to the point where if there was like a book report or something where you had to get up and speak in front of the class, a presentation, I would somehow cut class. The easy way is to say that I was sick, but I would do much more creative ways of like literally skipping like that period of
So
class.
you
I would
had
have
a
to
fear
I
of
was
speaking.
petrified of speaking. And then when I went to university,
Mhm.
I ended up co-founding the first South Asian fraternity in the history of the United States.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
Basically a fraternity for brown people.
Brown people.
Yeah, excuse me. So like Indians and Pakistanis all coming together.
Right.
There wasn't one at the time, and I was a freshman in college, and I had to learn how to kind of almost campaign and go from community group to sit on what was called the West Mall of campus with my flyers and talk about the fraternity, try to recruit people. And during that process, I was forced to get over this fear of speaking. And since then, I've probably spoken, 200,000 times
Oh my gosh.
around the world, and it really become a core part of my identity. But I always tell people that I was like freaked out to speak in front of people when I was young. So things can evolve.
So your experiences over time has led to
Yeah.
you to be such a great speaker. I've heard you on the baseball field as well, the few words you do come out and say. So, but yeah, no, I've also learned about you that you have traveled tremendously. Okay,
Yes.
all over the US, 51 states, and then pretty much all over the world. So when you were before the baseball venture,
Yes.
your past experiences in work, like
Yep.
what
So
were
I
you
started.
doing?
I started my career at Procter and Gamble.
Procter & Gamble,
Spent
okay.
10 years at P&G, the largest consumer products company in the world.
Right.
Led marketing for brands like Tide and Old Spice. So slang and deodorant and detergent. Learned a ton about brand building, about the fundamentals
So
of
that's
business.
it. That's where your experience and your knowledge comes to creating
Yeah,
this whole.
it's a piece of it, because as everything is art and science. And
Right.
at P&G, I learned the science.
Okay.
And I also learned about great leadership and great, people, because Procter and Gamble people are amazing. Still to this day, I'm very connected. There's a high percentage of former P&G people that go on to be CEOs of great companies because of the training there.
Okay.
So I was at P&G 10 years, but the last 2.5 years, they created a special role for me to lead marketing and basically influencer social in developing countries. And
Wow.
P&G defined developing countries as Latin, South America, Central and Eastern Europe,
Okay.
Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. So it was this huge swatch of territory
Right.
that was just kind of growing. And my job was to launch brands and build basically a lot of our kind of infrastructure, marketing infrastructure, and product infrastructure in these countries. And because of it, I was able to travel to 51 countries on behalf of P&G, literally changed my life,
Wow.
got to see the world, and really started to learn what I hoped was true when I was growing up in Texas as the one or two brown boy in Texas, was that we're all a lot more similar than we are different. and
100%.
and
Yeah.
started to see the commonalities in people instead of the differences, and that started a shift in me, to move really mentally into a different direction,
Hmm.
out of kind of the corporate world and into more of an entrepreneurial pursuit and other just bigger life pursuits that I had, Aisha, of trying to make a positive impact on the world.
Wow, that's amazing. So in your life experiences of your travels, which you have so much experience of, as you traveled, which can you bring out a time in your life where it was most challenging, most difficult for you, and how did you overcome that incident that you can tell me about?
You know what? During those travels,
Hmm.
during those early travels, it wasn't too difficult.
Okay,
I
good.
had it pretty easy. I was traveling on Procter and Gamble's dime. I was staying in nice places. I was, traveling, in business class, and life was actually pretty easy. And I was like the most blessed you could be,
Wow,
because I
that's
was
great.
experiencing things, but I was seeing other people's hardship.
Right.
I was doing consumer research in favelas in Brazil, in barrios in Mexico City, in barangays in the middle of the Philippines. I was watching how other people struggled, and
Hmm.
that's what really, started to move me.
Hmm.
I started to realize I'm like super, super blessed. I mean, I got
Hmm.
everything.
Thank God.
Thankful to God. Yeah,
Yeah.
because but these people, they were going through a lot of hard times. I spent a lot of time with Filipino families when I was launching a new detergent, a
Okay.
Tide detergent
Wow.
in the Philippines. And Filipino women in the poorer areas of the Philippines, they still walk to water wells to get water. And the way that they used to clean their clothes in, 2010, which isn't too long ago, is they would take basically detergent is soap,
Hmm.
and they would scrub the clothes with the soap detergent, and
Wow,
then they would make multiple trips back and forth to the well with water.
that's
And
amazing.
so, you start to learn about
Right.
how people really live,
Live, right.
and then I ended up leaving P&G in
Mhm.
2011, 2012, to go lead social and marketing for a company called GoPro, camera
Oh, I
company,
know GoPro, right? Yeah.
in the early days. And
Okay.
GoPro,
Actually, my son has a GoPro.
there
Yes.
you go. Yeah. See, everyone had one in a while. Now it's kind of, tailed off a bit.
But they did
But
enjoy using it when they first had. It was like the most exciting thing,
it
and
was cool. It
yeah,
was the coolest company, honestly.
yeah.
One of the coolest companies in the world for a period of time. And I went there. When I went to GoPro, I'm just looking around our studio. It was probably about this size, a white cottage on the edge of the Pacific Ocean in Half Moon Bay, California.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It
Okay.
was it was founded by an amazing gentleman by named Nick Woodman, who is a surfer and a creative. And it was basically kind of like, instead of the Texas days where it was like 99 white boys and one brown boy, me. This
Right.
time it was 99 surfers and
The
one
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 bro,
one brown
one
guy
bro,
that's never like
and
got on
you
a
stuck
surfboard.
out like
Yeah, I totally stuck out.
right,
I connected with Nick,
right.
the founder.
Okay.
He inspired me, and that's why I left P&G, because I was on a great, path at
Path with
P&G.
PG, right?
But everybody was like telling me not to leave. Like all of my mentors, my mom, of course, very risk averse. They see parents, so my mom, everyone was saying don't leave, but I just felt connected and called to go try this thing. And when I went to GoPro, it was this small but exciting company. And then after a year and a half, we became the fastest growing camera company in the world, $1 billion in revenue. And by 2014, we're the most valuable IPO in America,
That's
thanks
amazing.
to the team's leadership. And I was lucky again and blessed again. I should be a part of something
Such a
really
growing,
exciting.
right?
And I learned a lot, but I really wasn't uh, a vital cog if I look back, because I came in when I got hired at GoPro. I just won Marketer of the Year from Brand Week.
Oh my God,
And
that's amazing.
yeah, it was a pretty big deal. And
Yeah,
I was coming from P&G, and I thought I was like the man
man,
coming
walking
in.
in, right?
But Pretty quickly I got humbled, and
Okay.
I pretty quickly I learned that like what I had learned in the corporate world was completely
Different.
different, completely set of different set of muscles, different mindset that needed to be executed in the startup world.
Okay.
And now I understand it, because I didn't understand it then. I was actually pretty pissed off that I met people because they were like thinking that I was like not working as hard. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm here at 9 a.m. I leave at 6 p.m. I do what I gotta do.
Mhm.
These are people that grinded for
Yeah.
years,
Doing
like I'm doing now for basically night,
right.
working 17-hour days.
Right.
We would go to trade shows because GoPro was famous for having amazing trade show booths at these big tech and sports and
Mhm.
action sports conferences. And we had these beautiful displays because our CEO was really big into F1 and racing and all that. We'd have race cars and we have, models and cheerleaders and massive screens, and it looked beautiful.
Mhm.
And I would get in there right when the trade show started
Mhm.
and come represent GoPro. And I was one of our spokespeople. So I was speaking to reporters and I was kind of getting the limelight,
Mhm.
but I didn't set up the booth. I didn't work in the early days when it wasn't that glamorous. And one of the early founders came up to me and he said, "Dude, you're here 5 years after we started doing this. Back when we started going to trade shows, I used to rent." His name was Justin Wilkenfeld, fourth employee at GoPro. He said, "I used to rent a Penske truck, like a big old truck,
Mhm.
but we bought IKEA furniture and we would load it all in the truck. I'd drive it from Northern California, San Francisco to Salt Lake City, Utah, get there early in the morning, not sleep for a couple days, set up and build the little booth in the back corner of the hall, in like the crappiest little corner of the hall, and try to slang these GoPros that nobody heard about."
Right.
It's
Right.
like, that was
That
hard.
was
What
work.
you're doing is easy. So I was getting like boot camped and hazed by these people,
Mhm.
and I didn't like it at the time,
Right.
but it was necessary. And then I didn't fully understand it until I started building my own companies. And what I learned is, Aisha, is that, the corporate world, and I say this with respect because I live both, and I've had about 13 years in entrepreneurship, 10 years in the corporate world.
Okay.
The corporate world is a zoo. The corporate world is a zoo. It's, when you're getting fed every morning, 9 a.m.,
Right.
lunch is at 12, dinner's at 5. Every inch of your surroundings. They're very familiar. The setting and the circumference are very clear to you after a week or two. It's the same. There's no pressure
Mhm.
outside of those walls, and no matter how big it is, it's still a cage. Entrepreneurship is the jungle.
Oh
It's the
wow.
complete jungle. You have to hunt every day for what you
Want.
eat,
Right. Right.
what you want.
Right.
You don't know what's around the corner. You don't know what's happening the next minute, let alone the next week. It's constant, adrenaline. It's constant, fight or flight, really,
Mhm.
when you're building something from nothing, and that was something I didn't learn until I got into it. And that's why a jungle animal looks at a zoo animal very differently,
Mhm.
and it has nothing to do with the person, it's the environment,
Mhm.
because you could still be a tiger in the zoo,
Zoo. Right. Right.
but the zoo mellows you out. The zoo makes you a bit lazy, no matter how hard you work. Because I did very well at Procter and Gamble, but I look at myself and was like, damn, I was lazy. Like I look at how I work now.
Now.
I'm like,
Boom. Boom. Boom.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would kick my ass, my P&G ass. So the jungle forces the animal to really take shape, to really become who you are destined to become.
So, what was the timeline over there and being in that atmosphere?
Yeah, I was a year and a half only at GoPro.
Okay.
And probably due to some of that hazing and everything I got and the lack of self-awareness, I was like, man, I'm gonna go do my own thing. I learned enough here.
Mhm.
And that's when I started my entrepreneurial journey with the first company called Be Somebody.
Okay.
It started as kind of my personal blog, a motivational blog, and kind of a shift podcast,
Yes.
opportunity, and it grew following, and it was a long. I mean, it feels like 17 lifetimes ago, but it was a very long journey with
That
Be
was your
Somebody.
stepping stone of
Yeah,
where you're going,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, so you say, okay, so companies now, besides United Club, what other involvements do you have right now as we speak?
Right now, after I started Be Somebody in
Mhm.
2011, and then built it into like a formidable company in 2013.
Okay.
Um, we the product I ended up building was the world's first learning marketplace, where actually you could end. It was an app that then enabled in-person experiences. So people could input anything they're passionate about into the app: poetry, podcasting, baseball, palette knife painting, and find experts in their city to teach them.
Oh, wonderful.
And
Wow.
this was before Airbnb and Uber had even made it to Texas. We were pretty early. I launched it in Austin, Texas after I left GoPro.
Okay.
The first year we were, skyrocketing. Second year, Entrepreneur magazine said that we'd be the app to take over Facebook. I got additional investment, moved into a 50,000 square foot playground of an office. We had a motocross track in the back. We had a rock climbing wall. We had a yoga studio. We had a CrossFit, gym.
Amazing.
It was like, I literally was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to become a billionaire. We're building $1 billion company.
Hmm.
And about 8 months after moving that office, everything started to go downhill. There's a lot of reasons for it, and I'm central to it because I was the founder. I'm the founder of it, and I always believe the leader should take the brunt of the criticism if something doesn't work, and the team gets the applause if it does work.
Right.
But a lot of things on the business model, didn't work out as well. It became a lot more expensive to scale than I thought, because we had built this really great brand, which is what I really do pretty well, is
Wow.
building brands.
Right.
But the business was local. The brand was global,
Okay.
but the business was local. So we had to find experts in every city, and we had to micro target and micro market on social media in every city for all these different areas of passion. We had 400 different activities and passions you could learn
Wow.
from. So it became super expensive. And so long story short, it started not to do well. I went on followed every little sign to try to get me on the right track. Ended up in Boston, from Austin, trying to work with different potential investors and mentors. Then ended up on Shark Tank.
Oh, wow.
I was
You were
on
in
Shark
Shark
Tank.
Tank as well.
I
Wow.
was on Shark Tank by accident, which then got me to the lowest point in my life.
Wow. What were you on Shark Tank for, if I could ask? What was
I was on Shark Tank for this company, Be Somebody.
Be Somebody? Okay. And
We were already making money,
Okay.
revenue, but not, we wanted to scale. I went on asking for $10 million. No, I'm sorry. I went on asking for $1 million at a $10 million valuation, which was really high back then in 2016 for Shark Tank. I wasn't a Shark Tank fan, never watched it, never really, was a connoisseur of the show. But one of my colleagues had just encouraged me, pushed me to try out when I was speaking at a tech conference in New York, and there was 5,000 people trying out. I was literally the last person to try out. You get a minute and a half in front of the judges, the producers. And long story short, 2 months later, I was in LA shooting Shark Tank. It's full-on reality
That's
TV.
amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
It's a full-on reality TV show. It's
Right,
like,
right. I've watched it. Shark Tank, yeah.
There's 18 contestants each season, and 9 have to get a deal, 9 don't get a deal.
Okay.
So you kind of know ahead of time which bucket
Which
you're going to be,
direction it's going.
based on kind of conversations with the producers and the script writers. People don't realize that there's a lot of planning behind it, and they kind of script how they want to. But long story short, I chose not to get a deal, but my segment didn't go out how I thought it would, because I was thinking no matter what these guys do, I'm going to look pretty good on TV. I'm going to use it as a marketing launch for this pivot idea I had for Be Somebody. I was like, I know my stuff.
Right.
I can speak pretty well. I'm comfortable, so I'm going to do great. But the way that the show aired, there was 42 cameras, I said, on the set. The way it was cut, the way that they produced it, the first half of the segment went really well. Where if you're watching, you're like, holy shit, this guy's gonna get his money. He's gonna,
Do
be
really
awesome.
well, yeah.
The back half was awful. I'll be like, if you now everyone listening is gonna go Google Kash Shaikh and Shark Tank, and you're gonna have to watch it. But fine,
I'm gonna go Google.
go through the pain like that I went through. I mean, literally, it
What
was
went
awful.
wrong? What happened?
I mean, there's a lot of things. It's too long for this show to talk about, Aisha. But I think that um, I got duped a bit by the
Okay.
producers,
Okay.
and they cut it a little bit differently. And if you read the contract of your Shark Tank contract, it says that they have the freedom to cut, edit,
Do
evolve
anything, basically.
anything to the content with an effort to humiliate, harm, cause.
Holy
And you know what?
cow.
Who saw that? I sent it to my parents after when I got on because I was excited.
Mm-hmm.
Like the welcome to Shark Tank packet.
Right.
And there was all this legalese at the end. And the only person who read it was my mom. And she called me and she's like, Beta, you need to read this.
Right.
Read this here. It says humiliate, harm. I'm like, Mom, chill out.
But she was so right.
She was so right. She was so right. But, again, I think God had bigger lessons for me because that was the last strands of ego that I think I had attached to me, Aisha. But after going through that, it really, really forced me into the most humble place because leading up to Shark Tank and with all the hype that be somebody had at the time, the office we had, all these press articles, like everyone that ever met me in my life was sending me messages like, want to be my friend. And afterwards, it was crickets, even like nobody. And actually the people
That was a good test to really see where everybody stands with
everybody
you.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even afterwards, if people were talking, they were like, oh my God, that was awful. That was terrible. I'm so dumb. I had a watch party at my parents' house because I thought, because you don't see the final edit.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I did great. I thought I did great.
Until they did what they did.
Until they
right?
did what they did. I had a watch party and then it was like, oh my God, what's happening? And even when I looked around at my own family members and I was like, no, it really didn't go that way. Like, I promise.
Huh.
I looked at their eyes and I could tell they were like, sure, buddy. Sure it did.
Aw.
So I literally went out right after that show, sat in my parents' driveway and cried
Aw.
because, and that was the lowest.
That was a turning point for you. Yeah.
that
But
was-
you learned so much from it, right? It really, like you said, it humbled you tremendously.
I learned a ton. And, for me, my kind of mantra has always been keep going. I started my entrepreneurial journey believing it was about passion, because I'm a big believer in doing what you're passionate about. But what I learned is it's really about resilience,
Yes.
and having that, ability to keep going.
To overcome the challenges that you faced.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
that is amazing. So then this leads up to
So then
Dubai.
the quick thing before Dubai, I pivoted the company.
Okay.
After Shark Tank.
Okay.
The marketing launch for pivoting it did not work on Shark Tank, but I still pivoted the company and I shifted it to a skills training platform.
Okay.
That instead of teaching people poetry, baseball, and palette knife painting, we were teaching people skills necessary to get jobs. I
Awesome.
reverse engineered a learning a platform working with some of the biggest employers in the world. One of the biggest employers in the world is the Kroger company, the largest grocer in America.
Yes.
They own Ralph's in the West Coast and Smith's in Central America or central part of the U.S. Bunch of different stores. $120 billion company. The number one job opening in America at the time was something called a pharmacy technician, like the least sexy job you could probably think of.
Right. Great.
And so I used the back end of my platform to create a skills training program to train pharmacy technicians. And I went to Kroger and said, hey, you're trying to hire 16,000 pharmacy technicians. I have a learning platform. I will train them based on the specific skills that are needed and necessary to do well at your company.
Okay.
And first I was asking them, what are the skills? And employers, I learned, had a really hard time understanding or being able to articulate what skills you
Sorry,
need. They would
right.
say, you need this degree. I said, okay, that's a degree, but what skills?
Skills, right.
And they couldn't really articulate. So my first kind of value add to companies became, let me help you identify the skills that your employees need.
Which is
for
so
specific
important
training.
to even recognize that.
Right.
Right.
The soft skills and the more hard skills.
Right.
Then I created a training program for these companies, and Kroger was very interested in the program, but they said pharmacy technician, that's a really big thing for us. we don't know if we trust you. You're just got your ass kicked on Shark Tank. We don't.
They
They
brought
didn't
that
tell me
up.
that, but I'm sure. No, I heard them
They-
thinking about it and walking about. When they were walking away, I heard one guy talking about it. I think he was on Shark Tank. So basically, they gave me like a lower priority at the time
Okay.
job called nutrition technician.
I see. Okay.
And basically, it was a little bit easier entry point to create a curriculum from kind of a one step below dietitian. And there was less regulation, so it was easy to kind of easier to create a curriculum. Long story short, Kroger had 500,000 employees. They gave me a pilot, Aisha, of 4 jobs.
Okay. Wow.
And my business model at the time was students paid Be Somebody $3,000 for a training program. So it's a significant check, but it was 10 times cheaper than traditional school.
School, right?
And if you passed our training program that was done in the employer environment, you got a guaranteed job with Kroger.
That's amazing.
Started with 4 jobs, ended up getting 4,000 with Kroger, and ended up
Bravo. Wow, that is
selling
success.
the
right
company.
there.
And doing pretty well with the exit on the company.
That's amazing.
And that's what enabled and fueled financially as well the next steps in my journey.
Wow, that is, it's so good to know where you started all your transitions and where it led up to now, which is where we're going to go into discussion. But so I found you, okay, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I go back and forth to Dubai, and when I had heard baseball, I'm like, wait a second, baseball in the Middle East, because you don't hear of that, right? I'm like, I'm just going to be myself. I'm just directly going to approach you and reach out to you. And your humbleness was right there, which I witnessed. Because I'm like, when I reached out, it didn't take you too long and you responded. And I was like, my God, the guy is just genuine right there. Because that's what I look for in people is authenticity.
Right.
And you were just so kind to invite me and all my friends that day. Then we had brought like 6, 7 people. And we experienced your baseball thing. And I'm sitting there in a Dubai, in a field, and I'm like, oh my God, there's baseball out here. And I'm just kind of absorbing it. And then I watched how you worked that day. Okay. I watched you hustle. Okay. I saw what you did. You are on your toes. You are very passionate of baseball. And I'm like, I can't believe a Desi boy from Texas is out here doing this. And I was like, applaud, like kudos to you. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I went back to the States. I go, do you know there's a Pakistani guy out? And so I started telling my friends, they're like, okay, Aish. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be an episode on my podcast at some point. But I was just like, this is a success story that needs to be told. So what year did you come out to Dubai and what year did you implement this whole baseball idea? And I know there's a lot to talk about here and I want to be specific on this.
Well, after I sold my previous company, I ended up starting an agency, a marketing agency that then grew into a sports agency. It's called BSB Group International and then BSB Sports. And we were doing pretty well. And I ended up expanding the sports division to whereas I ended up becoming an agent and representing different athletes. Started in UFC, but then started to grow into MLB, Major League Baseball, and also some retired legends as well. And one of the legends.
What age is retirement? Excuse me. What age is retirement considered?
40 plus.
40
plus.
Okay.
So one of the legends that I met and connected with and started representing is a gentleman by the name of Barry Larkin. Barry Larkin is one of the greatest shortstops in baseball history. Played 19 years for the Cincinnati Reds. He's in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. First shortstop to hit 30 home runs and steal 30 bases. Was somebody that I followed growing up. The 1990 Cincinnati Reds baseball team won a World Series. That was one of the World Series that I saw from end to end. I was 11 years old, and I started really getting into baseball, like I shared with you, when I was 5. At 6 years old, the Astros were in the playoffs for my team, so I was really into it. But by 11, it was a religion to me.
Wow.
I was watching everything, and that was back in the day before obviously phones and pre-internet and everything. So
which was probably the best days, but good and bad. Yeah,
we'd get my dad always got the newspaper, and the Sunday edition had the back of the Sunday edition was the sports section, which had the MLB statistics in the end, like of every team.
And you would be,
I would be into like literally, all over these statistics. I had my white spiral notebook. And I would copy all the statistics from the newspaper into my notebook. So I would have my baseball stats.
Wow.
So I was obsessed. and Larkin was somebody that I always really, really loved and respected. I ended up meeting him, because Kroger was also based in Cincinnati. So when
Okay.
I did the deal with Kroger, I moved back to Cincinnati,
Okay.
Ohio, and Larkin was there. Lark was there. And long story short, we started connecting. I started representing him, and he started talking to me
Hmm.
about international baseball and about the opportunity that he saw. And I credit Barry Larkin
Hmm.
for really getting the bug in my head, because he's kind of an OG of international baseball. He coached the Brazilian national team in 2013. He's done developing work in India as part of the Bush administration and the Obama administration, trying to teach kids the game. He's done development work in Asia. And he started saying, Cash, MLB, I believe they're missing the boat because baseball is such a great game, but it doesn't have a massive international following.
Hmm.
I believe there's an opportunity there. And I believe someone like you could do it because you've got, a good brand building, marketing background. You really know baseball. You're passionate about baseball. You understand global business. So Barry Larkin is the one that got that in my head in 2022, very beginning of 2022.
Okay.
And then, long story short, when I started to look at the world, I saw that this region, which is the Middle East and South Asia, the GCC, as you know, it's called here, the
Hmm.
Arabian Peninsula, and the subcontinent, there's 2 billion people. 1 billion of them are cricket fans. So this is the bat and ball epicenter of the universe.
1 billion.
Yeah,
Wow.
1 billion cricket fans. And in cricket, just like in baseball, you hit, you catch, you run, and throw.
Right.
And so what we believed and what I believed is that if we could just inspire a small fraction of these cricket fans to fall in love with America's pastime of baseball,
Hmm.
then we could make pretty significant community and commercial impact. And that's how the journey started. I founded Baseball United in November of 2022 officially,
Okay.
after several months of kind of, learning and failing too in 2022, trying to figure out how to break in. And I co-founded it with Barry Larkin, Hall of Famer, with Mariano Rivera, a New York Yankees Hall of Famer,
Nice.
best closer in history, the only person unanimously voted into the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And then, yeah,
Great.
and then a fellow named John Medrick, who's still, one of my best friends in life. He's our vice chairman. I'm our chairman, and John spent 20 years at NYPD, the last 10 years as the head of counterterrorism, based here in the region.
Okay.
So just phenomenal, phenomenal people that I'm so blessed to
Amazing
work with.
team
Yeah,
around you,
like
right?
literally, like the cream of the crop of people. And we started November 2022. Now we're November of 2025, and it's coming together finally.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, how do you can you explain the logistics of your baseball? How many teams?
Yeah.
Where you recruit from?
Well, first I'll tell you, Aisha, I knew when I started this thing that it was going to be the hardest thing I ever done in my life. Um, on a 1 to 10, I believed it was going to be a solid 10 with no questions. It's turned out to be a 47.
Oh my
It's
God.
been so freaking difficult. And it's one of those things where if I knew how insane and crazy and hard it was going to be, there's no way I would have tried it. There's no way I would have done it, even though I have so much love for the game. I always say my top three things in life as a human is, number one is I want to do something I'm passionate about that makes a positive impact in the world. That's my number one thing. Number two is I want to do it with people that I respect and I care about and that I enjoy going to battle with every day,
Right.
which I had in both of these things. And number three is I want to be successful doing it. Money is a component of it, but it's only one sub bullet of success, because there's a lot of ways we
Right.
define
Success.
success.
Right.
I felt good about 1 and 2, and that's why I pursued this journey. But the 3 in success, I mean, man, this thing has been insane, because what I realized is we weren't just bringing a sport here. We had to build the entire ecosystem from scratch, literally from educating every single person what is first base, what is second base, that we take for granted growing up in the US.
Right.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody.
What a home run is.
Right.
These are like basic parts of Americana, of culture,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
You don't know what a home run
It
is?
is
Wait,
right.
wait.
Short. Yeah.
Yeah, shortstop, whatever.
Right,
So I
right.
mean, so like educating everyone to onboarding the government. And you don't realize this back in home, that like you and I can start any business we want in the US, and it's one of the most beautiful things. We don't need any government involvement.
Right.
It's all private.
Right.
Over here, you need a lot of government licenses,
And backing and
backing,
yes.
different trade licenses. I had to get a special visa to be able to do what I do. Dubai gave me a golden visa for bringing baseball here, but it took many years to do it. And then we had to do everything from teach the camera people who are broadcasting the games. I had to teach them how to follow the baseball. They never seen baseball before.
Right.
So somebody would get a hit and it'd be in left field and they'd be, shooting up in the sky. I mean,
Right.
the schools, the community programs. Right. Then obviously we had to build a brand. I had to do the fundraising. We had to recruit the players and coaches. We had to build a facility, the first ever professional baseball field in the history of this region.
Right.
I mean, every single thing from scratch.
Like step by step to lay that foundation down out here, which you accomplished.
Yeah. So it's been 3 years, 3.5 years really in the making. We've had, before this year, we had 3 signature events here in Dubai, starting in November of 2023.
Okay.
We launched 4 franchises, a Mumbai franchise and a Karachi franchise, representing the subcontinent, the 2 cities where my dad lived. My dad passed away a year ago, almost exactly a year ago. It was a really super hard time for me and my family, but he has been an inspiration of everything that I've been doing. And the 2 cities really represent dad, which is very special.
Right.
And also they represent the greatest rivalry in sports. India versus Pakistan.
Yes.
Which, as you know, when India plays Pakistan in cricket, 600 million people watch. It's the most watched.
Oh my God, that's a
times
large
the Super Bowl
audience.
Yeah, it's 6 times the Super Bowl. So, we wanted to tap into that rivalry, that fandom. And then we have 2 teams here in the UAE, and a Dubai team and Abu Dhabi team. Launched those in 2023. Did different kind of signature events, what I call like friendly exhibitions. But this year, for the first time, we launched our first season, which started November 14th with Mumbai playing Karachi.
I was there.
You were there. I mean, it was a beautiful thing because
I had my Karachi sweatshirt. I'm like, Karachi won. I thought they weren't going to win, but they ended up winning.
Won. You were good luck.
Right. It was a wonderful experience.
Do you remember what happened? Now here's a quiz. What happened on the first pitch of the game? Come on, Ayesha.
Oh, come on, Kash. Come on.
You were engaged in deep conversation, so you might have missed this. A home run on the first pitch of the game.
Yes.
The first pitch in the history of our league.
That was for opening night.
Opening night.
Right.
Very first pitch, Pavan Parks from Karachi hit a home run over the right field wall.
It went far. Yeah, we were like, oh, right in the beginning.
Over this.
And then there was time where the bases were loaded. I saw that too. And I'm like, okay, something's going to happen today.
Yeah, it was an exciting game. And he hit the home run over the right field grandstands, which I call the Crawford boxes, which are what they're called in Houston, where the Astros play, my home team in Major League Baseball. So there's like so many beautiful things. And life is like that, as you know. I really believe everything comes full circle when you follow your passion and when you stay resilient and you work hard and do things the right way. And, there was a lot of nights I didn't believe we would get to that opening night, but somehow we did. Team did an amazing job.
Yes.
And, everything that could have hit us has hit us, Ayesha, from wars in the region to, investors falling through to kind of running out of capital to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then to have opening night, have the place full at a ballpark that we built with our bare hands.
That's amazing. It's an amazing.
And then see the ball go over the fence.
I know, right? I was like, this is really, and I was there to witness it. I'm like, every time I'm in Dubai, I'm just going to go to the game because it's actually really enjoyable for me to watch now. Because I'm like, you watch it in the States, but then, okay, I'm a fan of the White Sox, just so you know.
Right. All right.
But then, you get confused with basketball, the Bulls, and you get Blackhawks. There's so many sports, and you can't really fixate it on one.
Right.
But then I'm like, okay, let me see. But it was just such a great experience, and I'm not an avid sports girl.
Right.
But as I'm getting older, I'm like, this was actually relaxing and good, nice to be a part of. I see also now that you have ventured into Saudi. Tell us a little bit about that. Well, expansion?
Yeah, I mean, we have a great partnership with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, similar to what we have here in the UAE, to bring professional baseball to the kingdom. So this year, we don't have a Saudi team. The plan is for next year to have a Saudi franchise as well. And we have a partnership with the Saudi Baseball Softball Federation, a gentleman named Naif bin Humaid. who's their chairman, and I have become very, very good friends. Saudi's the youngest baseball federation in the world. They were formed in 2019,
Okay.
and we've been supporting them, sponsoring them, helping them, providing coaches, curriculums, and they've been doing a great job. They're doing the hard work at the grassroots level, which we've been really passionate about, of how can we fuel grassroots, because the league is the shiny object at the top that everybody wants to watch and be a part of. But how do you build the infrastructure?
Upward, right.
The Little Leagues, we're a big partner and sponsor of the Dubai Little League and
Right.
Abu Dhabi Little Sluggers.
Right. I saw that.
Little
Yeah,
kids
they were
out
coming
there.
out there,
Yeah,
right.
every night, Aisha, when you come to the ballpark, you'll see a kids group out there. I have a little kid say play ball to start the game every game. They're on the field.
Just
they're on
watching the
bases.
band play. You had everything what we have in the States. You brought it here.
Brought it
You
here,
didn't.
yeah.
I didn't see that anything was missing.
Well, I appreciate that.
And that was great to see. Even the music and the momentum and the energy. It was really nicely set up, and it was an experience for me.
Well, we bring, the grassroots is super important with the community, with the kids, with the national team programs. But yes, as you mentioned too, the entertainment aspect. So, we have cheerleaders, which is kind of novel and new for Dubai. We have a band, which, as you know, is typical for college football in the U.S.
Right.
Not in baseball.
Right.
But I would loved it with college football.
It was so nice though to hear the band,
Yeah.
right? You had the music, but then you had an option of the band, which was really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Like legit marching band, which is different.
Yeah.
We have the mascots running around, which people aren't used to here. People love. We have 4 different mascots for our teams, and then we have obviously great F&B experience. So even if you're not a huge sports fan,
Right.
or a
You get entertained in some way or another.
exactly,
Right,
it's
right.
a great experience.
Yes,
So-
definitely. Now, how do you guys, when you have set up your foundation, how do you do recruitment around the world? Do you go in the universities to seek out and scout people? How do you go about with
for
that?
my team or for our
For
players?
all the teams that you are creating, because you are actually a part of that process of creating all these teams,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you know what? We Baseball United right now, we're the league, but we also own all our franchises.
Okay.
So we have a baseball operations department that recruits and scouts and signs our players. Several of them come from kind of my pipeline because I have a sports agency, BSB Sports, and people reach out to me through that. But the bulk of them come through a gentleman named Eddie Diaz, who's our senior vice president of baseball operations. He's another legend I'm blessed to work with. He's a Hall of Famer in Mexico baseball. And he has an amazing network, very respected in the game. So we recruit players who have played at Major League Baseball for teams like the White Sox and the Yankees and the Red Sox, who played in Japan. Japan is the number 1 per capita baseball country in the world in terms of viewership and fandom. Amazing baseball played in Japan. They're the number 1 national team in the world. They've got the number 1 player in the world, a guy named Shohei Ohtani. So we've got a lot of Japanese players as well. And then international players from around the world, including India, Pakistan, and the UAE.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me ask you, how does your mom feel about all your success and all the milestones she has watched you go through? I know she's a big support system for you,
Yeah.
but at this present day, like, where does she see her son going further in life? Or this is the ultimate, you are on your top of your game right now. What else would you want to do? And what else does your mom aspire for you to do?
Well, it's a great question. My mom was tough growing up. I'm sure you experienced it.
Yeah.
My mom pushed us quite a bit. Dad was usually the softer one. Mom pushed, and I learned a lot from both of them. And my mom is the one that instilled the work ethic, the resilience, the go after it type of mentality. My mom taught me in an early age, told me in an early age. The one thing I'll tell you, the one piece of advice I want you to remember is never have any regrets in life, because failures fade and regrets last forever. And that stuck with me. And that's what gave me the courage to leave Procter Gamble, and the courage to leave GoPro, and the courage to go on Shark Tank,
Right.
and the courage to pivot the company, and the courage to sell the company and
Right.
build baseball here, because I never wanted to look back and say, man, I wish I did this.
Right.
Or like, dang, if I had tried that, maybe I could have done it.
Right.
And now, but my mom also is a mom, and she's always like worried about me and my health and the crazy things I'm trying. So this has been tough for my family too. I have a 1.5-year-old son, my wife back at home. Like, we this has been tough because I'm away quite a bit and it's been
Right.
a grind financially. I've invested a lot of my own money into it as well.
Mhm.
But it's funny that you asked that, Aisha, because after opening night, the next night I was driving to the ballpark, and it's a 9-hour difference from New York, 10-hour difference from Houston. And I called my mom because it was morning time.
Mhm.
And she said, Beta, I watched the game. It looked amazing. It looked on broadcast. It looked flawless. There were so many people there. Like, she's like, I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud. And this is your dream. And she said, keep going. She told me, she said, I really want you to keep doing this, keep building it, which was a shift, Aisha, because
Yes.
before she was
was
kind of
tough.
trying to tell me to get out of it because it's too intense,
Right.
too hard. So I think my mom's even learning some things too about, if you can get over your fear, take the risk at
Right.
times.
Yeah.
It may or may not work out, because do I believe I'm at the pinnacle where we need? Not by any means. There's so much more we need to do.
Right.
And there's still no guarantee with the sports league. Are we going to be around in 4 years or 3 years? Because this thing is expensive to run and we need some investment. We need some commercial things to happen. But we know we built it from scratch.
Right.
And, I always say
All
that.
that hard work.
That's right. I always say that building something from nothing is the most difficult but most beautiful thing that you can do.
And you've done it.
And that's what we've done.
Done it.
Yeah.
Applause and congratulations, Cash. I'm so happy to
Thank you.
learn more about you. And it's amazing, your story. And your story, exemplifies and inspires other people to go on that path of find your passion, build what you can, build from scratch, and just deal with the challenges and be resilient, right? And don't give up.
Keep going.
And it's beautiful. Your mom's blessings are behind you. At the end, I'm a mom as well, and I have adult children, and all I want is for them to be successful, healthy, and be happy.
Right,
That's
right,
all we
right.
want for our children.
Right.
So thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
The conversation. You have a friend, sister out in US. Whenever you need, you have my number. I want my fans to, if you'd like to subscribe to Shift Happens by Ayesha Khan. And once again, thank you, Cash, for a wonderful segment. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
And congratulations on this great podcast.
Yeah, so this is going to be my passion. Just get great people out here like yourself and just share the stories to really boost and uplift people that there's no competition. There's enough for everyone to have success. And my job is to get out there, bring people like you on, and share the stories to inspire the younger generation.
Amazing.
So hopefully.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Cash.
you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.